I think the war in Ukraine has finally given Scott Morrison a tiny sniff of winning the election. 3 weeks ago, said no hope. And Morrison was apologising for everything and fighting for nothing. But this war and the China threat, they've let Morrison speak with a passion and a conviction on an issue he really gets. Maybe that's because he's a Christian, he understands battles between good and evil. And these are no longer just ideological slogans, the fight for freedom. You look at Ukraine, this is what the new Russia-China axis really looks like. And Scott Morrison has a good record in standing up to China and now to Russia. But today's Newspoll, really taken last week, at the very start of this war, it hadn't really sunk in, I guess, seems to show that so far it's not doing much for Morrison. Maybe I'm wrong, but Labor is still way ahead of the government, 55% to 45%, with just 2.5 months to the election. Joining me is the political panel, Michael Kroger, former Victorian Liberal President, and Steve Conroy, former Labor Senator and Cabinet Minister. Michael Kroger, are you surprised that there's no poll movement at all, really, for Morrison on those figures, although I think people are giving him a bit of a tick personally?
No, I'm not, but I'd be surprised if they haven't moved Andrew at the next Newspoll in 2 weeks' time. So I would think the next Newspoll, the government will be up 1%, Labor will be down 1%, something like that. If it's still the same 45-55, that's disappointing news for the government. But don't forget, Andrew, there is a shy Morrison voter effect in this country, as we saw at the last election. And the more woke the politics is in Australia, the bigger the shy Morrison voter effect is, particularly in marginal seats like Deakin and, Flinders and lots of other seats. So it's not 45-55, it's probably 53-47 at the minute, with the hope that the government will close the lead in 2 weeks' time to probably 3 or 4%, Andrew.
Steve Conroy, are you prepared yet to say that Scott Morrison is finished if, in these early days, not even a genuine national security crisis looks to this point like saving him?
No, look, I think that would be extremely unwise. I'm still very scarred from the last election where Newspoll, the poll you're quoting, got it so dramatically wrong. I mean, look at the primaries, Labor at 41, like it said we were at 39 last time and we got 33. It was 6% wrong. And on the Liberals, it said it was 37 and they got 41 or 42. It was over 4% wrong. So I'm not in any way prepared to say that Labor's looking in an election-winning position yet. What I think is working against the Prime Minister is that 3 years down the track, he's not the daggy dad image. He can't get away with that portrayal of himself. People think of him more in terms of, he doesn't hold the hose. He couldn't organise to get vaccinations rolled out. He couldn't get the rats tests available for Australians. So Australians got a lived experience of the Prime Minister, which makes that harder. Yes, there's good economic news. The unemployment rate's very strong for the government. The government will want to talk about that every single day. So while we're not talking about health issues, COVID, etc., that's a plus. But the government aren't yet talking about the issues that they might be able to win votes on, which is the level of unemployment in this country and the economic recovery.